What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mastermind Day number 15. Today, we have a couple of homework pieces. I want everyone to write an ad for a sourcer in their area this weekend. Um, and even if that ad is for you, it's your job description for yourself. How do you want to do it? If you want to do it so yesterday our conversation was about being a camper, somebody who stays at home all day looking for deals. Maybe you buy pallets, maybe you buy liquidation, however you do it. But let's say you wanted someone doing that full-time or part-time. What would that job description look like? Is it Monday through Friday? You hit the first TJ Maxx at 9 in the morning. TJ Maxx, Goodwill, Salvation Army, Burlington, all in your area, and you stop by Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's on the way home and look at their clearance section. What does it actually look like? Either somebody going out for you or you doing it, or if it's Ben's husband camping at one Goodwill all day, what exactly does it entail? Is there stuff being done in between when they bring out stuff? Are you researching more things while you're waiting? Do you do any prep while you're waiting in line? If you're waiting for the next items, are you prepping and researching and building titles or something for the items that you've already picked? Because that happens at the bins too, where you might go find a bunch of items and then have to wait for the next crop to come. So you have extra time. So the homework is to write an ad for the sourcing and email to me at chris@dailyrefinement.com. I'll give you guys a couple more ideas. Let's say I think route is the most straightforward one. Everyone needs to have a list of the affluent sales in their area. I was just thinking about Brittany, maybe the school that has affluent parents, they do something once a year. I've always wanted to run a church sale for a mega church. Like here, there's only a few churches that have over 10,000 members. But there's churches with over 10,000 members. What does that church sale look like? Does it even exist? Could you tell the church, we're going to do one annual sale and I'll pay you guys $2 per item and I'll buy the whole sale. Or maybe you just host the church sale every year and you get paid X amount and you get to look at what's left. But I think that those large community drives are massive. If anyone has ever been to a neighborhood garage sale before, those are awesome. You can make a lot of money in a short period of time because you can go to so many different sales. That, in my opinion, is what a flea market is. It's like 100 garage sales in one location every single week. So I want the secrets to that, people having an insider connection to an estate sale company. So maybe Ben knows 10 estate sale companies he gets to go pick before they open to the public. And he comes at the very end and gets to get all the stuff for free, day number 5, before it goes to the landfill or donated. So we need these kind of rules. So let's think about what we want that person doing. I think it would be cool to have a calendar of all the online releases that are going to sell out. I think I have the right YouTube channel to monetize that somehow. So if we had a group calendar of every single drop and you could just log in and try and get it. I think that because as the software for bots becomes more sophisticated and bots work less, then what that means is people will be able to compete. So maybe there's a true system where, let's say there's a pair of Nikes coming out tomorrow that's worth 500 and the retail is going to be 200. And Nike somehow makes it fair. So you submit your email and payment information and they randomly select. So it's not a bot. We should all know that. So everyone can just put all of their information in all these different releases and at least our group can get all that money. Because that's not difficult to set up in my opinion, but it would just need a system. Amber? Give a feedback? Maybe not. I'll mute her. So today's conversation, I want to think about something let's all talk. I'm gonna have a shorter meeting today. I want one action item that you want to do this weekend besides the homework. So we'll go around the horn. Chad, what's one thing you can knock out this weekend?
In relation to sourcing or,
Anything reseller related.
oh, I'm actually moving my photo station in just a different area of the room to be able to get it more flat so I can stop using hangers. And I will do that this week.
And your question is,
So
what would I be giving the estate sale companies in return for the purpose?
yeah, I mean that sounds like I would walk into that situation all day, but what do they get from me?
Um, the best would be you spend a lot of money.
Mhm.
So you could say like I'll spend a minimum of 1,000. Let me pick first.
What
And
happens when you don't find $1,000 worth of stuff you want? You just buy a couch to fill it up,
or you
or
just or you just give them the money and come back next time. You
okay,
should be able to spend $1,000 though if you're first.
yeah, my wife could definitely spend $1,000 out an estate sale.
Yeah. And that might cover their overhead for the day. And it might be mutually beneficial for them to let you do that. Um, but again,
And
it
and then you
depends.
clean up at the end too, I guess is the other thing. I'll take all the stuff at the end.
Maybe they don't need your money. And they're like, Chad, when you come on Wednesday, when we set up for the sale starts Thursday, you move all the furniture to one side of the house for us.
Mhm.
And then you move all the smalls to the tables in the garage because we're going to open up the garage. Everything that's $1 to $5 is going to be in the garage. Maybe you set it up for them on Wednesday. Something of unequal value is how you get that hookup.
And you just say, just let me pick first is what they give me.
That's what you want, and they don't give a shit
Hmm.
about you. So you have to figure out what they
Hmm.
want and then trade
Right.
for that.
Yeah.
So you
Labor.
want the best stuff for the cheapest price.
Hmm.
They already know that. So somehow, what do they need? Um, and you have from my experience, it's been difficult to work with estate sale companies. It's been easier to work with realtors. Because realtors are kind of shisty, in my experience, and they're trying to, um, they want to sell the house. That's where the money's at. So they're not like here, literally estate sale companies, they have only a limited amount of time before the stuff gets landfilled. Like because the commission on the house is 100 grand, so they don't care on they just get rid of the stuff immediately. So I think if you were to work out in a estate sale company where you take the stuff at the end, that's not the best picking, but that is an agreement that could be had relatively easy. The first pick is harder. And then the realtor, though, if you want to take the whole thing, they want you done with the estate sale as fast as possible. So I haven't actually seen that before. Like Chad's estate sale services, where you just go take everything out of the house and move it to your warehouse. I've never seen that. I
That's
don't
what
know
I
if
started. That's
that
what I
exists.
said a while back. Like that's what I started thinking I was going to do. And at the first estate sale I went to and just pretended like I knew what I was doing. They were like excited. They were like, "Yeah, come on Sunday evening and start unloading." So I hired a kid from our church, and we went up there and cleaned the house out. But I'm like, I need a giant warehouse to do this on the regular.
Yeah, I wonder, could you like? I can't believe I've never even heard of that. Like what? Like if you're a realtor and you want to sell a house, right? And you go to like 20 real estate firms. It's not very many. They probably control all the neighborhoods that you want. And just say when you're ready to sell a house, we will show up on Wednesday and take everything on Wednesday, move it to our work. We'll do the estate sale there, offsite, and then they can get their house immediately, start staging it. A realtor would sign up for that service for sure. But then what? I've never heard of that. I would love to go to Chad's barn sale. That would be a cool thing. It's like we get an estate every week. Come in and you know what I mean? It's like a reverse.
It's a lot of work, man. It sounds so good when you're sitting here
Sounds
talking,
so
all
good.
drinking your coffee.
Yeah.
But when you're there in August, in Texas, and you're cleaning out a house that they don't want to run the AC on, and you're looking at a mountain of just garbage someone left you, you're like, I'm never doing this again. From experience, I was like, this is the last time I ever do this. Even if I had this like as much money that I needed to have a big warehouse, I'm like, it'll take me decades if I did this every week to sell all this stuff. Like, and then I would die and leave that to my kids, and my kids are like, golly, look what dad did. He left us this pile of garbage.
I know. There's a guy in the group named Frank that was like, what if we just do this? We just do clean outs for people, and then everything is $1. So if it's a chair, $1. A love seat, $1. Everything is $1. You just bring everything to the thing. And Tech was like, you would need someone by the door with a gun. Because it would get out of control. There would be 100 people who show up right when it opens to try to get everything for $1, and it would be mayhem. But you would sell most of it if you just put everything.
But what you're left with is like dirty underwear and broken, Tupperware and stuff, and then you're like, what do I do with all this?
Because Frank was talking about maybe like having a credit card machine, and because like it would be too slow when you sell something for $1. It like has to be cash because that's fast. But then like you literally would have giant mountains of cash. It would be a really crazy scenario. I don't even know how you could do it. You'd almost have to like charge admission and let people go IKEA style. I don't know though, because that sounds so good, but it must be so hard because I've never seen
No one
it.
does it. It's like the saying, if it was easy, everyone would do it. Like that's the ultimate difficult thing. I would never want to do that.
It sounds wow. I would I'd love to watch. I don't want to run it. I would come.
I would love to watch too,
I would love to
but
watch
not
it would go.
not do it.
Because I know Resale Rabbit has had these huge warehouse sales where everything's $1 too, and it's just like it's madness. Um okay. London, let's talk about it. So today's prompt is to write an ad for somebody who's sourcing for you, thinking about all the different things that you want. So now let's talk about your challenges. And did you end up with 3 people that you're testing, or what's the situation?
Yeah, so I feel like I have sourcing really well under control. It's working really well for me, so I don't want to change that right now. What I was trying to do was hire people to come take photos for me, and I'll just tell you my process, and you can point out all the errors in it if you'd like. So I was saying I would pay about 40 cents an item to be photographed, hoping that they'd get pretty quick and they'd be able to make 20, 25 bucks an hour. I have 2 cousins that I brought over and then a neighbor, and I showed them the flat lay. I explained and I gave examples of how I'd photograph a long sleeve shirt, pants, etc., the measurements. And the neighbor did it, and it just wasn't for her, I think. And then my cousin watched my other cousin do the process of photographing, and he's out now too. So I don't know if it's just a mundane job and it's not for everyone, or maybe if I screwed up by saying 40 cents an item. It's just what I'm trying to do is find someone motivated who understands the more work I get done, the more money I make. I don't want to hire someone for 15 an hour that's barely producing. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. What you can do is when you were showing them, did you physically do it?
Yes.
Okay. Hourly is easier with the quota. So you can either do what I did was hourly, and if you get done earlier, you get to go home earlier. And that's okay if you have sort of a like an estimated goal. So for us, it's like 26 an hour. So I'm okay paying all the way up to $1 if I don't have to babysit you. Like 40 cents is a little low, might be a little lower minimum wage where you are, but people they don't know what that means. It's too
Right.
hard, man. No, like unless you're from a sales background, you wouldn't understand commission.
Yeah. And I do have a sales background.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you do. I'm talking about the worker.
Yeah, them. And I think that's something I'm not understanding. Like, I was talking to my husband and I said, I just wish I could find someone that's wanting to work as hard as me. And I mean, the truth is, when I was freshly 18, I was working 60 hours a week at a car dealership.
Yeah. You're a
It's
hustler though. It's not the same thing.
yeah, it's not easy to find. Well, and then my husband said, if you're looking for another hustler, what you're going to find is someone that's going to copy you and,
Yeah.
and do it on their own. So,
Well, they wouldn't necessarily copy you, but they definitely would move on.
right, right.
So like if you want someone to work as hard as you have to pay them as much as you get paid. That's the only way to get someone to do that. So you want like a threshold of productivity. So I would be happy with 30 sets of photos an hour.
Maybe I should just do a dollar per listing or per photographed item. Sorry, that's what I mean. I'm not gonna have them list.
That's high. But you can for someone that is like somebody can live on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The easiest thing to train is photography because
Yeah.
it's literally modular.
Mm-hmm.
There's no okay, this is why Chad it's not easier to find someone to source because there's no grading. Grading is hard. Like there's certain Gucci you wouldn't buy. There's Pendleton that's worth a lot and Pendleton that's not even worth $1. So someone's got to learn how to do that. But with photography, your photographer, you want someone that's mad when it doesn't look the same. Like you move their ruler and they're like, I'm not working today. That's like the person that's just dialed into doing this thing and they don't think about other things. They go to work, do it, and then go home. I think the right personality is just a quick serve. Instead of hiring people who are convenient, I've been hiring people um, who know how to do. There's a book called The Entrepreneurship Roller Coaster or something by Darren Hardy, and this is a really good lesson that I learned, and I almost fell into this trap too. Like I've been trying to hire someone to write for my YouTube channel, and I'm not considering you, Hannah. You could be, but there's a lot of people who applied that follow me, right? Just not just randomly because I put it on Craigslist and Indeed and Simply Hired, and there's already people who follow me. So it's tempting to be like, this person knows me, they're cool, they whatever, but I'm not doing that. I'm like trying to find people who are really they already know how to do this job really well. So there's a person that okay, kind of blew my mind because a lot of the podcasts I listen to, I really thought the host came up with the content, and now I know that's not true. If you have a huge podcast, there are writers for sure, at least giving you some things you can go off of. Because I looked at the quality. There's a person that wrote for a history podcast and he showed me a sample. And I was like, man, if you gave this, if I had that, it would be way easier to do. So I worry about hiring family. That was my roundabout way of doing it because they're convenient, but then they're not geared to like somebody who works at Cafe Rio in Utah that's used to how crazy that place is. Photography, they would slay. Anybody in quick serve anything.
So what I was thinking too, because I also have a background in pharmacy, is I wanted to go poach some of my old coworkers that worked in the pharmacy with me because they're used to doing something mundane over and over and over again, but they live far away because I moved. So yeah, maybe I'll just have to go scout a pharmacy close by.
Most people who have worked at a restaurant or a coffee shop or a pharmacy, they've worked in retail. Even retail is fine. It is monotonous, and people don't necessarily have a problem with that. It's the people who are okay. The people who are available are the worst. Usually, the poaching is a great idea. Like I always think when I go to a local coffee shop or I see these amazing workers, and I'm like, it's totally not cool to approach them with a it's not cool to poach someone. So I don't know. But I know you love hey, how's it going? Do you want to work for me instead of here? It's like not. But that totally happens. Like I don't know. Maybe that is just how you do it.
It's not kosher. You're right.
Not
Like
kosher. It's not cool, but
no, but I think it could get me some good workers.
I know. It's a the personality type is actually relatively straightforward because most people prefer mundane. I prefer mundane. I'm a much better employee than I am entrepreneur. Um, but yeah, you don't want to fall. I think one more thing that might help a lot is someone with design background because the lady that I had the best, she was an interior designer major. Christine was a film major. She crushes the photography. Keisha, she does art prints or something. So it ended up for me being they worked at a restaurant before and they have design for the eye because centering does take a little bit of practice. And if they take a picture and it's crooked and you're like, what's wrong with this picture? And they don't know, then that person sucks. They can't tell. So Stephanie pays her 16-year-old 50 cents an item. That's pretty good. Want to work, need to work is text criteria. I mean, I don't know if this is discriminatory, but like doesn't live with their parents. Is that illegal? Maybe. If you don't live with your parents, it's hard. You have to like pay your own rent and like get your own car and transportation. That's like much harder. That person has more life skills, maybe a lot better. But I bet that's illegal here to ask them. But that does help a lot. Um, Also, it's not that easy to acquire talent. So I think people should recognize this is going to be a really hard endeavor because I have to interview 100 people to get one, 100 like, and usually they're really busy. That's the only thing I can tell. Like busy people, if you ask, when are you available for an interview? And they say anytime, you can just X that person out. Why are they available anytime? So I think that's why I think college is valuable because you learn time management and priority management. Um, so Brittany, this is a great question. So I think a person should be able to do 80% of your speed. So however many photos you can do in an hour, 80% of that should be what you require that person. And then when they watch you do 10 an hour and then you say you do 8 an hour, they can see, okay, my boss can definitely do it. And most likely after some time, they'll be able to do the same speed as you. I like to put the dexterity, but most people now are good with the phone. But I would say try them out, London. Don't do per piece, it's too complicated mentally. So say in an hour, I expect this many.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think that's where I was messing up. And honestly, I know the $1 per item is kind of high, but that might get the right person in the door for me. So I'll try that. But yeah, you're right. I thought I had brought 3 people in that were gonna kick ass, and some people just don't want to work, or it wasn't the right fit either, I guess, for them. But I don't know. You put easy money in front of someone, and it's kind of funny. Sometimes people will just still not take it.
Okay, so I actually made a video. So 180, this video is private. I did or unlisted. I just put it on Craigslist of me doing it. So I'm like, okay, this is me explaining how we hang it on the hanger and then explain the listing process. So I explained essentially we take photographs right here. Then we go over here, which is right next to it, and list the item. And then me doing it. So the person applying got to see the exact thing. And then I just said, you need to be able to do one every 2 minutes. So that's 30 an hour. And it actually was a little less because I only expected 26 an hour. So that's 4 hours for 104 and then list 104. And I know it's painful, London, but if you can figure out the same person photographs and lists, anyone in the group figures that out, you will go from making $1,000 a week to $3,000 a week. It's a big jump if you're
For
able to figure
sure.
out that.
That's
Just
the
the
goal.
photography.
I just have to find someone I can trust.
Yeah, to find someone you can trust, and then you have to have your processes clean enough so that you can show them. And I think usually when you go to a job, they don't show you. You will really impress someone by doing that. Like you can find a person that really loves you because you like, wow, my boss is really knows how to actually do this. Let's see,
Chris,
Amber's. But
can you explain that jump from 1 to 3,000? Like you said, I know that's just a ballpark number, but why
yeah,
would that increase?
because you can get 104 listings done a day.
But if you're doing it yourself, and
You can't do 104 listings and find all the stuff and
right, so it frees you up to source more. Like
yeah. So I
okay.
think that for a normal human, the limit is sort of 40 a day. From my experience doing this for a long time, a full-time person going to find all of it, listing, shipping, putting it all away, customer service, 40 a day is sort of the capacity. If you're spending half of the day looking for items, 40 a day is still 6 figures, but 6 figures is like $2,000 a week, right? So $2,000 a week's nice. That's like 6 figures by yourself. When you hire someone, they're gonna make you 4 or 5 grand a week of profit, but you've got to pay them. And in the beginning, it makes you less efficient because you're paying attention to how they do it and not you. But if you have a one full-time employee, you can make 150 a year. You have to spend the rest of your day finding 520 items for them to list a week. But someone could easily crush 104 trainers a day. Easily. The photos are all exactly the same. Right? That would be a really awesome job. Go to work. You could even sit down to take pictures for photo of shoes, which is nice. I probably would still stand, but you could sit, have the shoes next to you, label it, photograph it, then put them away, then sit at your computer, start with a men's or women's shoe template and just knock them out. That would be a really easy job. Less physical than clothing, but you only need one worker to do 100 listings a day.
Would you list all or photograph all 100 and then list all 100, or would you do it in like 25 blocks?
All in one, all the way through. And no one has the patience to do this because I didn't. For many years, I did one person photographs, one person lists, and it sucked. But it's harder to train someone to do the whole thing. Angela?
Okay, so after you train someone, how long should it take them to get to that 80% of what you can do? Like, how long should it take them to become, I guess, competent in what they're doing?
You ready?
Yeah.
One day.
One day.
First day. It should be that clean. That's really kind of scary. But if you guys came here, the first day you would list 104 items. I have it set up exactly what you would do. And as long as you could physically do it, you could do it because there's no extra steps. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to adjust anything. The pile is there on the left. You put it up and put it down. 100 a day is a really comfortable, actually, maybe a little less, maybe 80 a day would be like really comfortable. That's one every 3 minutes. But what that means is 50% of the time at work, you're resting. Because it only takes 90 seconds to do the photo part. So if you give somebody 2 minutes, tech will call it snail pace. You're just really taking your time to do it, but it's actually easier to go faster. It's easier to do it in 90 seconds than 2 minutes once you know how to do it, because it's you just be waiting around for 30 seconds during the process. So but that is like what it would look like in reality for somebody doing 80 instead of I'm sorry, doing 20 an hour instead of 26 would be you do 5, use the bathroom, you do 6, maybe text somebody, when you do 7, then maybe you make yourself a sandwich. That would be what it looks like to spread it out. But if you knock it all out, it takes less than 4 hours. You could do 104 listings in probably 6.5 to 7 hours if you just didn't take any breaks. And I originally thought when I was learning how to do this that I would just tell my workers, don't use the bathroom or go to lunch. I know that that's definitely illegal, but I was just thinking, and just be done way earlier. I'll pay you for 8 hours, just be done in 6 hours. And then it's easier mentally than taking a break in the middle of it. And in trying to, like, you're gonna take a break and then come back into something that like kind of takes your full focus. It's hard to adjust.
So if they can't get it after that day, they're probably not a good fit. You
That's
think?
right. They
Okay.
can't do it right after they watch you do it, then. So the only thing that's okay is that it's not going to be centered. But the staging part, and especially for hard goods, I think I'm trying to think here. They should be able to do it the very first time. Like, let me see here. I don't know why they wouldn't be able to do it right after you do it. Right? Because, but if you said like, okay, what we're gonna do is before we start photography, we're gonna think about how we want to take the photos. So we're gonna sit down over here on a piece of paper and sort of figure out what we want to do. Then they would just quit immediately. Nobody wants to do that. Okay, this is why creative work costs a lot more. You can pay $20 to $25, or let's just say $15 to $25 an hour is what people get paid to help people with eBay. That requires them, if you don't want to have high turnover, they can't think about what their job is. Because being creative is so expensive. If I were to tell Ben, okay, go figure out how to, can you bring me some profitable items? Thanks. That's not a $15 to $25 an hour job. It's much higher. It's hard to do that. So, Chad, you can use a DSLR. I recommend the Canon ELPH, which is what Tech uses because it never breaks. But if you go DSLR, it's the same thing. It's the same because the camera is better because you can take the memory card out, plug it into your computer, get a memory card reader, and that's the fastest way to do photos.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about that route because I have an old MacBook Pro that I don't use, and it only will take it doesn't do AirDrop. It's that old.
Yep.
But I
But it
have
has an
cameras
SD card slot.
yeah, it's got the SD card slot, the old school
Yep.
one. And I have a bunch of cameras from doing videography. So I'm like, why not do that once I get my flat lay more flat?
It's also a bit heavier. That's
Yeah.
all. That's why
But I
like
that it doesn't do all the auto stuff. I can set it like for the room that I'm in, the aperture and the white
Yep.
balance, and then I know every time it's going to be the exact same color and everything.
Yeah, the Canon ELPH. This is so ridiculous. It's like the Canon ELPH 180 is like a camera from 2016, right? Which is like centuries in the camera world. It's 6 years old. Last year, it was camera of the year, like in a bunch of circles because it doesn't break. It lasts forever. It costs $100, so like everyone can get it. Like, and it's really light. You can use you wouldn't get tired. So, and it doesn't have a rotation problem like a phone. Like sometimes when you're taking pictures with your phone, it takes a picture sideways. It never does that. Also, one more thought on photos. If you take photos, I call it hamburger. So this like landscape. it doesn't cut off any of the photos on mobile. But if you take a picture, hot dog, it'll cut off the top and
Portrait.
bottom of your portrait. It'll cut off the top of and the bottom on mobile on an iPhone, not on an Android. So it's like the better user experience is actually landscape, but it'll have a bar on the top and the bottom, but it won't cut off any of the item. So it's kind of a weird like thing having it the automatic eBay automatically adds in bars to make the pictures the same shape, but it does something different on different devices, which
So with the DSLR, would you still take it portrait?
I wouldn't. I would take a landscape.
'Cause I know somewhere I saw a video where you said the like portrait video, I mean, pictures were better. I thought maybe I misheard that.
So it's interesting. Portrait photos are better once they click on it because most people are on their phone. So if you take a portrait photo and you click on it, it zooms the whole screen. You can see the item, right? But when you're scrolling, it's cut off. So it's like, come on, eBay. No one in the back end is like, hey, let's solve both. They haven't though, for some reason. So it's like, there's a store called Shop Material World or something, and they do all portrait photos. Really good experience once you click in, but then, you know, like if you cross-listed on Mercari or Poshmark, it would crop the photo to the center, and you couldn't see anything. So it's just weird how these things work. But yeah, the best route for eBay, in my opinion, would be to take a landscape hamburger style photo. That would be the fastest. Your worker will be able to do it day one. And I think they don't have that yet, but maybe we'll make an eBay franchise system. So London can charge $200 an hour for someone to show up and watch her do it and then do it right after. Because that's like nobody does that. eBay training is all like hypothetical on YouTube. But all of you could come here and the first day you could list 100 items. That's crazy because most people have never done that. They've never listed 100 items in a day. But that would be what I learned. When I first learned eBay, I learned it from Rockstar Flipper and Nicole State. And even back then, Nicole State was able to list 100 items in one day. So
Chris, could you do that? Because I mean, like when you were doing eBay, you had said that like most of your sourcing, I believe you said like at the end was like coming to you.
Yep.
So you said 40 a day was because you have to spend half the day sourcing. So if you were spending no time sourcing and all your stuff was just showing up,
80 a day minimum. Yeah, minimum. My theoretical limit is around 100, including everything, but it's 60 hours because I still have to go. It's not coming to me. I still have to go. It's being held for me. So I still have to go look at it and sort there. It would be the equivalent of you buy pallets and then you can sort it there and leave the stuff you don't buy there. That's what I have. So I have to go. I could do 100 a day I could do 100 a day, 7 days a week, but it would take 60 hours. That's like, I think the most, it wouldn't be that bad because it would be already set. So even though it sounds like a lot of hours, I still think that if I spent the remaining amount of time with my family, they would still get sick of me. Like there's still that much time left that I could do something else and 60 hours a week and hang out with my family because you can't hang out with them that long. Actually, I guess there are people who can work together all day and I just don't know how they do that. How do you hang out with your spouse all day at work and then all night? I don't get it. That's
I mean,
I'll
I
do
feel like
it.
a lot of people had to do that during the pandemic, right? Like my wife and I both started working from home. Our desks were literally 6 inches apart from each other.
What was sad about the pandemic for us is my wife and I looked at each other and said, our life didn't change at all. We were work from home, rarely went out. And so we're just like, oh, it's just, business as usual for us.
My wife took over my desk, or we split the desk. She used one monitor and I used one monitor until I decided that I don't want to use any peripherals. I'll just use my computer. And then somebody wrote on my YouTube channel, maybe one day you'll be successful enough that you can each have your own desk. And I was like, wow. Wow. Well, yeah, no, it doesn't. I think it's amazing people that can spend all day with each other. It just doesn't. It's amazing to me that you can work from home all day, and then there's just no separation between work and family. And I'm like a big fan of Esther Perel, and like I always think about this because it's important. Why are we even doing eBay? Right? Is it to earn a certain amount of money? Do you also get some value from looking for things? But like, there's a lot of stuff involved. Like, if you have a spouse or you're looking for that, you got to figure out like romance. There's all this ridiculous stuff to do at home, all these household duties, work duties. And eBay does allow you to do it at home. So you pick up a lot of efficiency there. If you have a post office pickup and your inventory comes to you, that is a mind-blowing business, in my opinion. So, do I have any videos on creating the listing fast? Yeah. So my listing video is in the group. Let me see if I have it. I guess I'll go over it right now. So I upload the photos into let me see, do I have, oh, I don't have that page anymore. I use a split screen on the same screen. So one screen on the right side of the photo is the photos in a folder. So I'll show you. Okay, I will show you how I list. So on the right side of my screen, I have the pictures, and on the left side of the screen, I have the listing page. So I make my listings one at a time, and I'll show you what I do in order. I drag the photos in as the first thing that I do. So I highlight the photos, and I have it in the thumbnail mode so I can see what the pictures are without opening them. The last photo for me is the item SKU. So I start from the first photo, last photo is the item SKU. I drag those photos in. That's the first thing I do. Then the last photo has the SKU. So let's say it's number 510. I type in 510 in the custom SKU. So drag the photos in, type in 510. Now I write the title. And during this scenario, I can zoom the picture up if I need to look at the model or the size or whatever by pressing the space bar. On a Mac, you can click on the item, press space bar, and it blows the photo up. So I write the title right there, and then so the photos are loaded, custom SKU is loaded. I load the title, scroll down halfway. It will guess most of the item specifics. eBay's artificial intelligence will guess. Then I double check the item specifics are fine. My descriptions are saved in the template. And I just add condition description, which is if there's anything wrong with it. And if there's nothing wrong with it, I just put excellent condition, no flaws or stains. That's it. So condition description, then I scroll down, adjust the price, and list. It's faster than photos. Definitely. So that's the whole listing process. Chad?
Yeah, so I'm not trying to like overstay my welcome. I know we're getting like free, mentorship and stuff, and I don't want to be like, tell us everything. So if you're like, this is secret sauce stuff, that's fine.
Yeah.
You said, and I've noticed that. So I'll put in item description, and a lot of the main, details are filled in, like or title and description. Yeah, sorry. description, title, and then the description fills out automatically. I'm like, cool, sweet. You know, except for like crew neck and stuff. And then it like, it's
Yep.
just a matter of a click. Is that enough? Or is there like certain ones where you're like, you should always make sure this one's filled out on a shirt, this one's always filled out on jeans or whatever? Like, or is it like, if you could, or let me say it like this. If you just said, forget it, I want to do it. I want to do my title. I want to work on perfecting my title and let the autofill do its thing and never touch an item specific. How much difference are you talking sales from someone who's like, gets all crazy in the item specific?
This is a great question. So I averaged 11 words in my title. So I consider myself an expert in the 6 categories that I sell in. So 11 words in the title is pretty good. You get most of the item specifics. When you go down to the item specifics, I would say it's about 80% correct. There's always at least one that's wrong. So you've got to adjust that one to whatever it is. And then there's a couple more that are missing. So I think it depends on the item. On a button-down shirt, the type of collar doesn't really matter, in my opinion. But classic and regular fit versus slim fit kind of matters, right? Because classic and regular are kind of interchangeable, which is confusing. And slim is good because a lot of people do search slim, but that might be something that you catch if you put it in the title, right? So these minor adjustments are huge. They're the difference between someone that gets onto the first page where 40% of the listings sell and people who don't make it onto the first page is these item specifics detail. I didn't realize that until maybe a year after I met Tech in this group, how big of a difference 8 correct item specifics are versus 6 are correct, 1's missing, 1's wrong. The difference between those 2 listings is you're on the first page and you're not. So you're not overstaying your welcome. That's the secret sauce for eBay. But it's just because people know that now on YouTube doesn't mean you can do it. It's still hard to enter in 8 correct item specifics, all the required and a couple extra ones that people might care about. Like handmade, probably people don't care. Theme, probably people don't care. But certain things do matter. And so if you can write, maybe we will stop the record. I'll stop. Maybe I'll stop the YouTube right now, and I'll give you guys a couple more pointers. I'll stop the YouTube right now, but I'm gonna give you guys a couple more.
Dang, YouTube's mad at you.
A little more secret. YouTube might be mad, but too bad. This is